The pros and cons of unlocked phones, this week on SpoonFed Mobile. So one of the biggest things in the mobile tech news these days is the controversy over unlocked phones. And for a long time, you could go to your carrier and say, especially after you're done with your contract, or if you're going overseas, can you unlock my phone so I can use it on another carrier? But that's mostly for international roaming. I think the big controversy now is being able to unlock your phone and take it to another carrier domestically if you want to do that. And this is sort of like number portability, but it takes it to another level. In this case, what does really unlocked mean for the everyday consumer?
Unlock means you can take the SIM card out of your phone, put in the SIM card of another carrier, say move from AT&T to T-Mobile, and take that phone with you without having to buy another phone that's specific to the carrier.
Right. So why are the carriers resisting, or at least the CTIA is, the organization that backs all the carriers seems to be resisting?
So they don't like taking the control out of the carrier's hands for a couple of reasons. One, most people buy their phones on subsidy, and so the carrier wants to make sure that they have you for 2 years. If they allowed you to unlock your phone, if they made it easy for you to go to another carrier, then you might up and leave after getting the phone at the subsidized price. However, they would really recoup that cost because in early termination fees, you'd end up paying it anyway.
Right, so part of it is about control, part of it is about a fear of lost revenue, but what about on the consumer side? What do they have to gain with this sort of flexibility?
Unfortunately, here in the US, not much. Most of the carriers use different bands. So even if you could unlock your Verizon phone, you can't take it and use it on AT&T or T-Mobile or Sprint.
Right.
Even if you could unlock your Sprint phone, you can't take it in anywhere. Now there is some portability between T-Mobile and AT&T, which use a lot of the same bands, but again, you couldn't get AT&T's LTE if you took a T-Mobile phone and brought it to AT&T. Right. So there's some compatibility there, but not a lot.
So while we're waiting for senators and the White House, there's a lot of people who are behind phone unlocking, but it's going to take a while for it to make it legal again because it was made illegal recently. So what can consumers do in the meantime if they want to unlock their phone, especially if they're traveling overseas?
Well, they can call the carrier and ask, and some phones, by the way, are already unlocked for use abroad. For example, a number of Verizon phones, like the Motorola Razr series, have GSM radios in them, and you don't even have to call Verizon. When you get to that other country, you can go and you can just buy a SIM and it will work. And of course, you can buy an unlocked phone you usually can find them somewhere like Amazon for $500 or $600, but that's quite a lot of money.
Right, and you have to use some negotiation tactics in some cases, as we've found out from one of our colleagues recently who tried to take a phone overseas with him, right?
Yeah, so our colleague Daniel Berg wanted to unlock his AT&T iPhone for use abroad. And when he first went to the AT&T store, they refused to do it because he was still in contract. And then he said he wanted to terminate his contract, and they put him through to a retention specialist, and they immediately unlocked his phone for him and lowered his bill every month. So, you may have to argue about it, but you probably can get your phone unlocked.
So I think that's the end goal of all this legislation and this push for unlocked phone, is that eventually we won't have to twist the carrier's arms to do what we want with our own phones.
That's right, but ultimately it's not going to really help the consumer that much unless and until these phones can operate on each other's networks.